The emergency room doors exploded inward. Marcus Rivera's boots hit the polished floor like thunder, his leather vest screaming Hell's Angels across his massive back. In his arms, 9-year-old Lily hung limp, blood soaking through her torn shirt, her face a canvas of purple and black. Every conversation stopped. Nurses froze mid-step. The entire hospital seemed to hold its breath as this tattooed giant crossed the threshold, his voice cracking the silence like a whip. "Somebody help my daughter, please." His eyes, wet with tears, swept the frozen room with desperate fury. "Help her now. Before we continue, please hit that subscribe button and stay with me until the very end of this story. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels." Now, let's begin. Marcus Rivera had seen fear before. He'd caused it, lived in it, wielded it like a weapon during his years as the Hell's Angels enforcer. But the fear he felt now, cradling Lily's unconscious body against his chest, was something altogether different. It was the kind that hollowed you out from the inside. "I need a doctor," he shouted again, his voice raw. "My daughter's hurt." A young nurse with blonde hair pulled into a tight ponytail finally moved, her training overriding her visible apprehension. She grabbed a phone from the wall, her fingers trembling as she pressed the code. "Trauma to her," she said, her voice shaking. "Trauma to her stat." Within seconds, a team materialized. A crash cart wheeled past. Gloved hands reached for Lily. Marcus's arms tightened instinctively around his daughter. "Sir, we need you to let her go," a male nurse said, his tone firm but not unkind. "We can't help her while you're holding her." Marcus looked down at Lily's pale face. Her breathing was shallow, barely there. Blood had dried in her dark hair. His hands scarred from years of violence. He tried to leave behind, trembled as he loosened his grip. "Please," he whispered. "She's all I got." A doctor pushed through the gathering crowd. Dr. Elena Santos, her name badge read. She was in her early 40s with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Those eyes took in Marcus's vest, his tattoos, the skull ring on his right hand. Then they dropped to Lily. "Put her on the gurney, Doctor," Santos ordered, her voice clipped and professional. Now, Marcus laid Lily down as gently as he could. The nurses immediately surrounded her, cutting away her shirt, attaching monitors. The steady beep of the heart monitor filled the air. "Too slow, too weak, pulse is thready," one nurse called out. "BP is 70/40. Doctor." Santos leaned over Lily, shining a light in her eyes. "Pupils are responsive but sluggish." Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, checking Lily's arms, her ribs. She paused, her fingers hovering over what looked like old bruises beneath new ones. "How did this happen, Doctor?" Santos asked, not looking at Marcus. "She fell," Marcus said quickly. "Too quickly." "At the playground. She fell from the monkey bars, Doctor." Santos's eyes flicked up to meet his. The disbelief was clear. "From monkey bars," she repeated flatly. "Yes. These injuries, Doctor," Santos gestured to the mottled bruising across Lily's torso, "are not consistent with a fall." Marcus's jaw clenched. "I'm telling you what happened. What I'm seeing, Doctor," Santos said, her voice hardening, "suggests a pattern. Multiple contusions in various stages of healing. Defensive wounds on her forearms, possible fractured ribs." She straightened, crossing her arms. "This didn't happen today." The accusation hung in the air like smoke. "I would never hurt my daughter," Marcus said, his voice dropping to a dangerous growl. "That's what they all say, Doctor." Santos replied coldly. A security guard appeared at the edge of the room, then another. Marcus saw them, felt the walls closing in. This was exactly what he'd feared, that his past would destroy any chance of being believed. "Sir," the first security guard said, his hand resting on his belt near his radio. "We're going to need you to step back and let the medical team work." Marcus didn't move. He couldn't take his eyes off Lily, her small chest rising and falling in irregular rhythms. "Mr. Rivera." "Doctor." Santos glanced at a clipboard someone handed her. "Your daughter needs immediate treatment. You need to let us do our job." "I'm not leaving her." "Nobody's asking you to leave, Doctor," Santos said, though her tone suggested otherwise. "But you need to give us space. There's a waiting room." "I said I'm not leaving." The security guard stepped closer. Marcus felt his muscles coiling, old instincts rising. Fight or flight. For years, he'd chosen fight. But that was before Lily. Before he'd promised his dying wife he'd be better. Sir, the second guard said, his voice harder than the first. You need to comply, or we'll have to remove you. Try it, Marcus said quietly. Doctor. Santos held up a hand, stopping the guards. She studied Marcus for a long moment, and something in her expression shifted slightly. Not trust, not yet, but maybe a flicker of curiosity. Can you tell me your daughter's full name? She asked. Lily Maria Rivera, Marcus said immediately. She's 9. Birthday's March 14th. She's allergic to penicillin and bee stings. She likes grape popsicles, not cherry. She's scared of thunderstorms but won't admit it. She wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. Doctor. Santos's eyebrows rose slightly. Medical history? Broke her arm when she was 6, fell off her bike, had her tonsils out when she was 7. Regular checkups at Metro Pediatrics with Dr. Amanda Chen. All her vaccinations are up to date. I have the records at home. The details poured out of him. Each one a small declaration. I know my daughter. I love my daughter. I am her father. Doctor. Santos exchanged a glance with the head nurse, who shrugged slightly. Abusers didn't usually know medical histories with that kind of precision. All right, doctor, Santos said slowly. You can stay, but over there. She pointed to a spot against the wall. And you don't interfere, understood. Marcus nodded, moving to where she indicated. From there, he watched as the medical team swarmed Lily. They inserted and drew blood, hooked up more monitors. Every beep, every murmured consultation, felt like a knife twisting in his gut. A nurse with graying hair whispered to another, loud enough for Marcus to hear. Did you see his vest? Hell's Angels. My cousin knew someone in that gang. They're dangerous. Look at those tattoos, the other whispered back. And that little girl's injuries. This isn't an accident. Marcus's hands curled into fists. He wanted to shout that he wasn't that person anymore. That he'd left that life 5 years ago. That Lily was the reason he'd walked away from everything he'd known. But he'd learned that people saw what they wanted to see. The vest, the ink, the scars. They told a story he couldn't erase. We need to get x-rays, doctor, Santos announced. And a CT scan. I want a full workup. She turned to Marcus. We're taking her to radiology. You'll need to wait here. How long? As long as it takes. They wheeled Lily away, and Marcus stood alone in the herbe, surrounded by suspicious stares and whispered accusations. He pulled out his phone with shaking hands and stared at his wallpaper. A photo of Lily from last summer, grinning gap-toothed at the camera, her arms wrapped around his neck. She'd been so happy that day. Sir? Marcus looked up to find a woman in a gray pantsuit standing before him. She held a tablet and wore an expression of professional neutrality that immediately put him on edge. I'm Catherine Morrison with Child Protective Services, she said, extending a hand he didn't shake. I need to ask you some questions about Lily's injuries. You people work fast, Marcus said bitterly. The hospital is required to report suspected abuse. Morrison replied, unfazed. Standard protocol. Now, can you explain how your daughter sustained these injuries? I already told the doctor. Tell me. Marcus took a deep breath. She was at the playground near our apartment, Washington Park. She was on the monkey bars. I was watching her, but I got a call from my foreman about tomorrow's job. I looked away for maybe 30 seconds. When I looked back, she was on the ground. 30 seconds, Morrison repeated, typing on her tablet. And in those 30 seconds, she fell hard enough to cause multiple contusions, possible fractured ribs, and a head injury severe enough to render her unconscious. She hit the ground hard. There's concrete under that playground equipment, Mr. Rivera. How long have you been Lily's primary caregiver? Since her mother died, 5 years. And before that, Marcus's jaw tightened. I was employed with the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, correct? I left that life behind. Did you? Morrison's eyes were cold. Because your record shows multiple arrests for assault, battery, illegal weapons possession. You served 2 years in county for aggravated assault. That was what? 8 years ago. I did my time. I'm clean now. Are you? Morrison stepped closer. Because from where I'm standing, Mr. Rivera, I see a man with a history of violence and a little girl with injuries that suggest ongoing abuse. I would never hurt Lily. Marcus's voice cracked on his daughter's name. Never. That's what they all say, Morrison echoed Dr. Santos's earlier words. I'll be conducting a full investigation. In the meantime, once Lily is stable, she'll be placed in protective custody pending No, Marcus stepped forward, and Morrison immediately stepped back, her hand moving to her phone. You're not taking my daughter, sir. If you threaten me, I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you, Lily stays with me. That's not your decision to make anymore. Security guards appeared again, flanking Morrison. Marcus wanted to rage, to fight, to tear this sterile building apart with his bare hands. But that would only prove everyone right about who he was. So instead, he stood there helpless as Morrison laid out the terms of the investigation, the home visits, the interviews, the assessments. She talked about supervised visitation and foster care placement and court hearings. Each word was another nail in the coffin of the life he'd built. When Morrison finally left, Marcus sank into a plastic chair in the waiting room. Other families gave him a wide berth, pulling their children closer when they passed. He didn't blame them. He knew what he looked like. 30 minutes passed, then an hour. Marcus sat frozen, his mind replaying everything. The playground, Lily on the monkey bars laughing, his phone ringing, Mike from the construction site asking about tomorrow's concrete pour, looking down at the screen for just a moment, looking up to see Lily crumpled on the ground. But something about the memory felt wrong, incomplete, like there was a piece missing he couldn't quite grasp. Mr. Rivera. Dr. Santos stood before him, still in her white coat, her expression unreadable. Your daughter is stable, she said. The CT scan shows a mild concussion, but no brain bleeding. She has 2 fractured ribs, multiple contusions, and significant bruising. We're admitting her for observation. Marcus stood, relief and dread warring in his chest. Can I see her? Dr. Santos hesitated. She's still unconscious. And given the CPS investigation, I'm her father. I know, Doctor. Santos studied him for a long moment. Come with me. She led him through a maze of corridors to the pediatric ward. Lily lay in a bed that seemed too big for her small frame, connected to monitors and IVs. Her face, usually so full of life, was pale and still. Someone had cleaned the blood from her hair and dressed her in a hospital gown covered in cartoon animals. Marcus moved to her bedside and took her hand. It was warm, at least alive. I'm here, baby girl, he whispered. Daddy's here, Doctor. Santos stood in the doorway watching. Marcus felt her gaze, but didn't care. The pattern of bruising, Doctor. Santos said quietly, suggests these injuries occurred over several weeks, maybe longer. I know how it looks, Marcus said, not taking his eyes off Lily. But I didn't do this. Then who did? That was the question, wasn't it? Marcus had been asking himself the same thing for weeks now. The bruises that appeared when Lily came home from school, the wincing when he hugged her, the nightmares that woke her screaming. She'd said she fell, that she was clumsy, that it was nothing. And he'd believed her because he'd wanted to. I don't know, he admitted, but I'm going to find out, Doctor. Santos was quiet for a moment. Then, I've been in her doctor for 15 years. I've seen abuse cases, too many of them, and I've learned to spot the signs. She finally looked at Marcus. What do you see when you look at me? I see a man with a violent past, Doctor, Santos said bluntly. But I also see a man who knows his daughter's medical history by heart, who noticed she was in pain before she collapsed, who carried her 6 blocks to this hospital instead of calling an ambulance because he couldn't wait. She paused. I see a father who's terrified. I am terrified, Marcus said. I'm terrified she won't wake up. I'm terrified they'll take her away. I'm terrified that I failed to protect her. From what? I don't know yet. Marcus's hand tightened around Lily's. But I will. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Doctor Santos, we have the blood work back. You should see this. Doctor Santos glanced at Marcus, then followed the nurse out. Marcus sat in the bedside chair and pulled it close to Lily. Her chest rose and fell steadily, the monitor beeping its reassuring rhythm. I'm sorry. Lily Bug, he whispered, using the nickname his wife had given her. I'm sorry I didn't see what was happening. I'm sorry I didn't protect you. His voice broke. But I'm going to fix this. I promise you, baby. I'm going to make this right. Outside the room, in the brightly lit hallway, Dr. Santos stared at the blood panel results. Her eyes narrowed. These sedative levels, she said to the nurse. This is midazolam. It's a controlled substance. Could it be from the air? The nurse asked. We haven't administered anything yet, Dr. Santos's mind raced. This was already in her system when she arrived. She looked through the window at Marcus sitting vigil beside his daughter. Someone drugged this child recently. The nurse's eyes widened. Should we tell him? Not yet, doctor. Santos pulled out her phone. But I'm calling Detective Parker. This just became a criminal investigation. Inside the room, Marcus felt his own phone buzz. He pulled it out and his blood ran cold. Unknown number. The message was simple. We need to talk, Ghost. It's been too long. Only one person still called him by his old club name. Marcus's hands began to shake as he typed back. Leave us alone, Victor. The response came immediately. Can't do that, brother. You know too much. Time to come home or face the consequences. Marcus looked at Lily's peaceful face, then back at the phone. The past he tried so hard to bury was clawing its way back to the surface. And this time it had his daughter in its sights. Marcus stared at the message until his vision blurred. Victor Kane, Reaper. The man who'd recruited him into the Angels 20 years ago. The man who'd made him into Ghost, the enforcer who never missed, never hesitated, never showed mercy. The man Marcus had betrayed by walking away. He deleted the message and shoved the phone in his pocket, but his hands wouldn't stop shaking. Lily stirred slightly, a small whimper escaping her lips. Marcus leaned closer, his voice dropping to barely a whisper. It's okay, baby girl. Daddy's here. You're safe. But even as he said it, he knew it was a lie. She wasn't safe. Not while Victor was out there. Not while the past Marcus had tried to bury was digging its way back up. The door opened. Dr. Santos entered with a man Marcus didn't recognize. Tall, late 40s, with the unmistakable bearing of law enforcement. His suit was rumpled, his tie loosened, but his eyes were sharp and calculating. Mr. Rivera. Doctor, Santos said, her tone careful. This is Detective James Parker. He needs to ask you some questions. Marcus stood slowly, positioning himself between the detective and Lily's bed. Questions about what? About your daughter's injuries, Parker said. He pulled out a small notebook, flipping it open. And about what we found in her bloodstream. What are you talking about? Doctor. Santos crossed her arms. Lily has midazolam in her system. It's a sedative, a controlled substance used in hospitals for procedures, but also, she paused, by people who want to keep someone quiet, compliant. Marcus's blood turned to ice. Someone drugged my daughter? That's what we're trying to determine, Parker said. His voice was neutral, but his eyes never left Marcus's face. When was the last time Lily was in a medical facility before today? 3 months ago? Regular checkup with Dr. Chen. And you're certain she hasn't had access to medications at home? Nothing she could have taken accidentally? I'm certain. Marcus's mind raced. I keep everything locked up. Advil, cough medicine, everything. Lily knows not to touch the medicine cabinet. Parker made a note. What about at school? Does she take any medication during the day? No. She's healthy. She doesn't need anything. Mr. Rivera, Parker said, his tone shifting slightly. I need to ask you directly. Have you given your daughter any sedatives to help her sleep? Maybe to keep her calm? No, Marcus's voice was flat. Dangerous. I would never drug my kid. People do it more than you'd think, Parker continued. Parents under stress, single parents especially, they don't mean harm. They're just overwhelmed. If that's what happened, that's not what happened. Marcus took a step forward. I don't drug my daughter. I don't hit my daughter. I don't hurt her. Someone else is doing this. Who? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. Parker and Dr. Santos exchanged a glance. The detective closed his notebook. Mr. Rivera, I'm going to be honest with you. Your record doesn't inspire confidence. 3 arrests for assault, 2 for weapons charges, known association with the Hells Angels, past association. Marcus interrupted. I left 5 years ago. Did you? Parker tilted his head. Because in my experience, nobody really leaves the Angels. They might go quiet, lay low, but they're still connected, still taking orders. Not me. I'm out. Then why? Parker said slowly. Did your daughter have a known club associate following her home from school last Tuesday? The room went silent. Marcus felt the floor tilt beneath him. What? Parker pulled out his phone, swiping to a photograph. School security footage. This man, he turned the screen to show a grainy image of a man in a dark jacket and sunglasses, was spotted watching the playground. Then he followed Lily and 3 other kids to the corner store. When the other kids went inside, He approached Lily. They talked for approximately 90 seconds. Then he left. Marcus grabbed the phone, staring at the image. The build was familiar. The way he stood, the tattoo barely visible on his neck. That's Jake Reese, Marcus said quietly. He's one of Victor's guys. Victor Kane, Parker said. Your former club president. Yes. And why would Jake Reese be talking to your daughter? Marcus handed the phone back, his mind spinning. To send me a message. That they can get to her. That they know where she goes. What she does. That I can't protect her. Marcus looked at Lily, still unconscious in the bed. They've been hurting her. That's where the bruises came from. That's why she's been scared. Doctor. Santos moved closer to the bed. Why would the Hells Angels target a 9-year-old girl to get to you? Marcus's voice was hollow. I know things. Things that could put Victor and half the club leadership in prison for life. Drug routes, money laundering operations, 3 unsolved murders. When I left, I made it clear I'd keep my mouth shut as long as they left me and Lily alone. But Victor, his throat tightened. Victor doesn't like loose ends. Parker was typing rapidly on his phone. And you think Kane has been orchestrating these attacks on Lily? To what? Force you back into the club or to punish you for leaving? Maybe both. Marcus's fists clenched. Victor's got people everywhere. Cops, judges, city officials. He could have someone at Lily's school. Someone with access to medical supplies. Someone who could hurt her and make it look like I did it. That's a serious accusation, Parker said. It's the truth. Can you prove it? Marcus opened his mouth and closed it. He had no proof, just instinct. Fear and the creeping certainty that his past had finally caught up with him in the worst possible way. I need to make some calls, Parker said, moving toward the door. Mr. Rivera, don't leave the hospital. We're not done here. After Parker left Dr. Santos stood at the foot of Lily's bed, her expression thoughtful. You believe me, Marcus said. It wasn't a question. I'm not sure yet, Dr. Santos admitted. But the sedative in her system doesn't match a home accident. And if what you're saying is true, if there's an organized effort to harm your daughter, she paused, then we have a bigger problem than I thought. I need to get her out of here, Marcus said. Somewhere safe, somewhere Victor can't find her. Running will only make you look guilty. CPS will take that as confirmation of abuse. I don't care how it looks. I care about keeping Lily alive. Dr. Santos studied him for a long moment. I had a brother, she said quietly. Roberto. He got mixed up with the Diablos gang when he was 16. I tried to get him out, tried to convince him to leave. He said the same things you're saying now. That they'd never let him go. That leaving would put us all in danger. Her voice caught. They killed him 2 weeks after he tried to walk away. Shot him in a drive-by and called it gang violence. He was 17. I'm sorry, Marcus said. That's why I became a doctor. Why I work in the I see the aftermath of that life every single day. She looked at Lily. And that's why I have a hard time believing anyone really leaves. Because in my experience, they don't. They just drag everyone they love down with them. I'm not dragging Lily down. I'm trying to save her. Are you? Dr. Santos's eyes were hard. Because from where I'm standing, your past is exactly what's destroying her. The words hit like a physical blow. Marcus wanted to argue, to rage, but he couldn't, because she was right. Everything happening to Lily, the bruises, the fear, the drugging, it was all because of who he used to be, who he still was in the eyes of people like Victor. I can't change my past, Marcus said, but I can protect my daughter's future. How? Before Marcus could answer, Lily's monitor started beeping erratically. Dr. Santos rushed to the bedside, checking the readings. Her heart rates elevated, she said, grabbing her stethoscope. Lily? Can you hear me? Lily's eyes moved beneath her closed lids. Her small hand twitched. Marcus took it immediately, squeezing gently. I'm here, baby. Daddy's right here. Lily's eyes fluttered open. For a moment, they were unfocused, confused. Then they found Marcus, and something like relief washed over her pale face. Daddy, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Hey, princess. Marcus felt tears sting his eyes. You're okay. You're safe now. But Lily's eyes widened with fear. She tried to sit up, and Dr. Santos gently pressed her back down. Easy, sweetheart. You've been hurt. You need to stay still. No, Lily said, her voice growing more urgent. No. They'll come back. They said they'd come back. Marcus leaned closer. Who, Lily? Who said they'd come back? The bad men. Tears spilled down Lily's cheeks. The ones who hurt me. They said if I told you, they'd hurt you too. They said they'd kill you like they killed Mommy. The room seemed to stop. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. What did you say? They told me, Lily sobbed. They said Mommy's accident wasn't an accident. They said they pushed her car into the intersection. They said they'd do the same to you if I didn't keep quiet, Doctor. Santos stepped back, her hand covering her mouth. Marcus couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Maria's death was ruled an accident, a tragic case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But if Lily was right, if the angels had killed Maria to punish him for leaving, who told you this? Marcus asked, his voice shaking. Who were the bad men? I don't know their names, but one of them had a snake tattoo on his neck and he smelled like cigarettes and oil. And he said, Lily's breath hitched. He said he was Uncle Victor's friend. Marcus stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. Victor. It was always Victor. 5 years of silence. 5 years of Marcus keeping his mouth shut and staying away. And Victor had been planning this the entire time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Mr. Rivera. Doctor. Santos said sharply. You need to calm down. Calm down? Marcus's voice was raw. They killed my wife. They've been terrorizing my daughter. They drugged her and beat her and told her it was her fault. How am I supposed to calm down? By thinking clearly, Doctor, Santos said. By not doing something that gets you arrested or killed. They deserve to die for what they've done. Maybe, Doctor, Santos said, but Lily doesn't deserve to lose her father, too. And that's exactly what will happen if you go after them. Marcus looked at his daughter, small and broken, in the hospital bed, and felt the rage drain out of him, replaced by something colder, more focused. Then I'll find another way, he said quietly. The door burst open. Parker rushed in, his phone pressed to his ear. I need units at the hospital now, he was saying. Metro City Memorial, 4th floor, pediatrics. Yes, I'm serious. He hung up and turned to Marcus. We have a problem. I just got word. 3 men on motorcycles were spotted in the parking garage. Hell's Angels colors. They're asking about a little girl in the air. Doctor. Santos moved to the door. I'm calling security. Security won't stop them, Marcus said. He moved to Lily's bedside, scooping her up as gently as he could. She was still connected to the 4, and the monitor started alarming. What are you doing, Doctor? Santos demanded. Getting my daughter out of here before they find her. You can't just take her. She needs medical supervision. She needs to be alive. Marcus looked at Parker. You said you wanted to help. Then help me get her somewhere safe. Parker hesitated for only a second. Then he nodded. There's a service elevator at the end of the hall. Takes you down to the loading dock. My car's in the lot across the street. Detective Parker. Doctor? Santos said, her voice sharp with disbelief. You can't seriously be helping him flee. I'm helping him protect his daughter from credible threats, Parker said. There's a difference. He turned to Marcus. But this is temporary. You hear me? We do this. You cooperate fully with my investigation. You tell me everything you know about Victor Kane and the Angels. Deal? Marcus adjusted Lily in his arms. She wrapped her small arms around his neck, burying her face against his shoulder. Deal. They moved quickly down the hallway. Nurses called out, demanding to know where they were taking the patient, but Parker flashed his badge and kept moving. The service elevator was ancient and slow, groaning as it descended. Marcus held Lily close, feeling her rapid heartbeat against his chest. It's going to be okay, he whispered. I've got you. I'm scared, Daddy. I know, baby. Me too. The elevator doors opened onto the loading dock. Cool night air rushed in. Parker's and Mark's sedan was exactly where he said it would be. They were halfway across the lot when the motorcycles roared to life somewhere behind them. Get in. Parker shouted, unlocking the doors. Marcus slid into the back seat with Lily, keeping her head down. Parker gunned the engine, tires squealing as they peeled out of the lot. In the rearview mirror, Marcus saw 3 bikes round the corner, their headlights cutting through the darkness. They're following us, he said. I see them. Parker grabbed his radio. This is Detective Parker, badge number 4127. I have a civilian and a minor child in my vehicle and we're being pursued by 3 suspects on motorcycles. Requesting immediate backup at the intersection of 5th and Madison. The bikes were getting closer. Marcus could see the riders now. Leather vests, helmets, the unmistakable patch on their backs. One of them pulled up alongside the car, and Marcus saw him reach into his vest. Gun. Marcus shouted, pushing Lily down onto the floor. He's got a gun. Parker swerved hard right, cutting through a red light. Horns blared. The bike lost ground but recovered quickly. They were heading into downtown now, buildings rising on either side, traffic getting heavier. Hold on, Parker said through gritted teeth. He took a sharp left into an alley. The car scraped against a dumpster, metal shrieking. The bikes followed, their smaller size giving them an advantage in the tight space. One pulled up on the passenger side and Marcus saw the rider's face through the helmet visor. Jake Reese, the same man from the school footage. He grinned and raised his hand in a mock salute. Then he pulled out a gun and aimed it directly at the window. Parker slammed on the brakes. The car skidded sideways and Jake's shot went wide, the bullet punching through the rear window and embedding in the dashboard. Glass exploded inward. Lily screamed. Marcus covered her with his body as Parker threw the car into reverse, backing up at full speed. Stay down. Marcus shouted over the engine's roar. The bike scattered, trying to avoid being hit. Parker spun the wheel, executing a perfect J-turn that put them facing the alley's entrance. He floored it and they shot forward, clipping one of the motorcycles. The rider went down hard, his bike sliding into a brick wall with a shower of sparks. Two left, Parker said, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. They burst out of the alley onto a main street. Parker ran another red light, weaving between cars. Horns blared. Someone screamed. Marcus held Lily tight, whispering reassurances he didn't believe. Where are we going? Marcus asked. Safe house. Federal building on 12th Street. It's the only place Victor can't touch. How do you know about Victor? How do you know his reach? Parker's jaw clenched. Because 8 years ago, I was the rookie detective who investigated your assault case. The one that sent you to county for 2 years. Marcus stared at the back of Parker's head, memories flooding back. The arrest outside a bar in South Metro. The fight that left 2 men hospitalized. The young detective who testified at his trial. You, Marcus said. Me. And I've been watching Victor Kane ever since. Waiting for someone to finally give me something I could use against him. Parker met Marcus's eyes in the rearview mirror. That someone is you. The remaining motorcycles were gaining ground. Parker took a hard right onto 7th Avenue, heading north toward the business district. Tall buildings rose on either side, their windows dark at this late hour. Traffic was lighter here, giving them speed, but also making them more visible. Federal building, 3 blocks ahead, Parker said. That's when Marcus's phone rang. Unknown number. He knew who it was before he answered. Hello, Ghost. Victor's voice was smooth, almost friendly. Seems like you've been busy tonight. Stay away from us, Victor. Can't do that, brother. You've got something that belongs to me. I don't have anything of yours. Sure you do. You've got 5 years worth of club secrets locked up in that head. Names, dates, operations, everything the feds would need to dismantle what I built. Victor paused. And you've got that pretty little daughter. The one who's been asking too many questions at school. The one who saw Jake and Tommy outside your apartment last month. Marcus's blood turned to ice. What? Oh, you didn't know. She saw them planting the cameras. Saw them going through your mail. Smart kid. That one. Takes after her mother. Victor's voice hardened. Maria was smart too. Too smart. She figured out what we were doing. Threatened to go to the police if we didn't leave you alone. We couldn't have that. You son of a, I gave Maria a choice. Victor interrupted. Stay quiet and live. Talk and die. She chose wrong. Just like you're about to. The line went dead. Marcus wanted to scream, to put his fist through the window. But Lily was trembling in his arms, and he forced himself to stay calm. Victor killed Maria, he said to Parker. He just admitted it. I heard. Parker was already on his radio. I need that recording pulled from Mr. Rivera's phone immediately. And I need federal agents at the safe house. This just became a murder confession. They pulled into the underground parking garage of the federal building. Armed guards met them at the entrance, waving them through security checkpoints. Parker parked in a secure bay and they hustled Lily inside. She was shaking, her hospital gown torn and blood-stained, her feet bare on the cold concrete. A female agent appeared with a blanket, wrapping it around Lily's shoulders. We've got a medical team upstairs. Let's get her checked out. I'm not leaving her, Marcus said. You don't have to. The agent was younger than Marcus expected, with kind eyes. I'm Agent Sarah Chen, FBI. We've been building a case against Victor Kane for 3 years. Detective Parker's been our inside man. Marcus looked at Parker. Your FBI task force? Parker corrected. Metro PD liaison. When I realized the Angels had cops on their payroll, I went to the feds. We've been trying to find someone on the inside willing to talk. Someone with enough knowledge to bring the whole organization down. And you think that's me? I know it is. Parker pulled out his phone, showing Marcus a series of photographs. These are from your time in the club. Drug shipments, money drops, meetings with known criminals. You were Victor's right hand. You know where the bodies are buried. Literally. Marcus stared at the images. They were from another life, another version of himself. He'd tried to forget. Ghost. They'd called him. The enforcer who never missed. The man Victor trusted above all others. If I testify, Marcus said slowly, Victor dies in prison. Yes, and if I don't? Parker's expression was grim. Then Lily does. You know Victor won't stop. He can't afford to. You're the only loose end, and he'll cut you off permanently. Upstairs in the secure medical bay, doctors examined Lily while Marcus paced outside. Agent Chen sat across from him, a digital recorder on the table between them. Tell me about Victor Kane, she said. What do you want to know? Everything. Start with how you met him. Marcus closed his eyes, dragging up memories he'd buried. I was 18, stupid, angry at the world. Victor found me after I got fired from my second job in a month. He said the Angels were family. Said they'd give me purpose, respect, money, everything I thought I wanted. And did they? For a while, Marcus rubbed his face. Victor made me his enforcer. When someone owed the club money and didn't pay, I collected. When someone disrespected the Angels, I taught them respect. When Victor needed someone to disappear, he stopped, his throat tight. I made them disappear. How many? 3, maybe 4. I don't remember all of them. Chen didn't react. Names: Tommy Valdez. Suspected snitch. Victor said he was talking to the ATF. I was supposed to scare him. It went too far. Diego Martinez. He tried to muscle in on the Angels' territory. Victor wanted to send a message. And Carlos Ruiz he stole from the club. That one was personal for Victor. Where are the bodies? Industrial Park off Highway 52. There's an old chemical plant that closed down in 2008. Victor owns the property through a shell company. Basement level, behind the boiler room. They're all there. Chen was typing rapidly. And you can show us exactly where? Yes. In exchange for what? Marcus looked through the window at Lily, who was sitting on an examination table while a doctor checked her vitals. Witness protection. New identities. Somewhere Victor can never find us. That can be arranged. But first, we need Victor. We need you to help us get him on record. How? By meeting with him, wearing a wire, getting him to talk about Maria's murder, about the attacks on Lily, about the bodies you just told me about. Marcus laughed bitterly. Victor's not stupid. He'll search me. He'll know it's a setup. Not if you make him believe you're coming back. Chen leaned forward. Call him. Tell him you'll rejoin the club in exchange for Lily's safety. Set up a meeting. We'll have agents in position, and the moment he confirms anything incriminating, we move in. And if he doesn't take the bait, then we use what we have. Your testimony, the phone confession about Maria, the evidence Parker's been gathering. It won't be as solid, but it might be enough. The door to the examination room opened. The doctor emerged, looking troubled. Mr. Rivera, I need to speak with you about Lily's injuries. Marcus stood, his heart hammering. What's wrong? The sedative in her system, it's a very specific formulation. Medical grade, used primarily in hospital settings. And the dosage suggests someone with pharmaceutical knowledge administered it. The doctor pulled out a chart. But there's something else. These bruises on her arms and torso, some of them have a distinctive pattern, almost like finger marks, but too precise, too controlled. What does that mean? It means whoever hurt your daughter wasn't doing it randomly. They were careful, methodical. They knew exactly how much force to use to cause pain and bruising without breaking bones. At least not until recently, a professional, Parker said. More than that, the doctor pointed to marks on Lily's arm. These are restraint bruises. Someone held her down while administering the sedative, and based on the injection sites, they did it multiple times over several weeks. Marcus felt sick. How many times? At least 6, maybe more. 6 times, Marcus repeated, his voice hollow. Someone drugged my daughter 6 times, and I never knew. They were very careful, the doctor said. The dosages were calibrated to keep her compliant, but not completely unconscious. She would have seemed sleepy, maybe a little disoriented, easy to dismiss as just being tired. Marcus remembered all the times Lily had fallen asleep early, all the mornings she'd been groggy and slow. He'd thought she was growing, that a 9-year-old just needed more sleep. He'd been so blind. I need to see her, he said. She's asking for you. Lily was sitting up in bed, the blanket wrapped around her shoulders. Her eyes were red from crying, but she managed a small smile when Marcus entered. Hey, Daddy. Hey, Princess. Marcus sat on the edge of the bed, taking her hand. How are you feeling? Weird. Floaty. She looked around the sterile room. Where are we? Somewhere safe. Somewhere the bad men can't find you. Lily's grip tightened on his hand. Are they gone? Really? Gone? Not yet. But they will be. I promise you, baby. I'm going to make sure they never hurt you again. Daddy? Lily's voice was small. Did they really kill Mommy? Marcus felt his heart break. Yes, they did. Because of you? The question was innocent, but it cut like a knife. Because I used to be a bad person. Because I knew things they didn't want anyone to know. And because your mommy loved us enough to try to protect us. He swallowed hard. But I'm going to make it right. I'm going to make sure the people who hurt Mommy and hurt you pay for what they've done. How? By being brave. By telling the truth even when it's scary. By trusting people to help us. Marcus squeezed her hand. Can you be brave with me, Lilybug? Lily nodded slowly. Will it make the bad men go away? Yes. Then I'll be brave. Parker appeared in the doorway with Agent Chen. We've got a problem. Victor just posted on the Angels' private message board. He's calling for a club-wide meeting tomorrow night. Says he's got a traitor to deal with. He's talking about you, Marcus. Marcus stood. Then we don't have much time. No, Chen agreed. We need to move now. Tonight before Victor can disappear or consolidate his defenses. What's the plan? Chen pulled out a tablet showing a map of the city. Victor owns a warehouse in the industrial district. It's where the Angels hold their major meetings. If we can get you inside wearing a wire, we can record everything. But it's risky. Very risky. I don't care about risk. I care about ending this, Marcus, Parker said quietly. If Victor even suspects you're working with us, he'll kill you. No hesitation, no mercy. Then I better make sure he doesn't suspect. Daddy, no. Lily grabbed his hand. Don't go. Please don't go. Marcus knelt beside the bed, looking into his daughter's frightened eyes. I have to, baby. It's the only way to keep you safe. But what if they hurt you? They won't. I'm going to be careful. And when I come back, we'll be free. Really? Free. We can go anywhere, be anyone, start completely over. He touched her cheek. Would you like that? Lily nodded, tears streaming down her face. I'd like that. Then trust me. Can you do that? Yes. Marcus pulled her into a hug, breathing in the scent of hospital soap and little girl. When he finally let go, his resolve had hardened into something unbreakable. Let's do this, he said to Chen and Parker. Let's end Victor Kane. 2 hours later, Marcus stood outside the warehouse in South Metro, his heart pounding against the wire taped to his chest. The building loomed before him, dark and silent. 3 motorcycles were parked out front Victor's Jake's, and one he didn't recognize. Parker's voice crackled in the tiny earpiece hidden in Marcus's ear. We're in position. FBI has the building surrounded. You go in, get Victor talking, and we'll handle the rest. Copy that, Marcus murmured. He pushed open the warehouse door. Inside, the space was cavernous and cold. A single light hung from the ceiling, illuminating a circle in the center of the floor. Victor stood in that circle, his arms crossed, a smile playing at his lips. Welcome home, Ghost, Victor said. I've been waiting for you. Marcus stepped into the light, his boots echoing on the concrete. Victor looked older than he remembered. Harder edges, more gray in his beard, eyes that had seen too much darkness, but the smile was the same. Cold, calculating. Didn't think you'd actually show, Victor said. Thought maybe you'd grown to soft, to domesticated. You hurt my daughter, Marcus said. You killed my wife. What did you expect? Expected you to run. That's what the new Marcus does, right? The reformed man, the loving father. Victor circled him slowly. But here you are, walking right back into the life you tried so hard to escape. Jake Reese emerged from the shadows, his face bruised from the motorcycle crash. Behind him came two more angels Marcus didn't recognize. Younger, hungrier, with the eager violence of men trying to prove themselves. He's probably wearing a wire, Jake said. Let me search him. Go ahead, Victor gestured. Ghost knows what happens if he's lying to me. Jake moved forward, his hands rough as he patted Marcus down. Marcus forced himself to stay still, knowing the wire was hidden beneath a layer of synthetic skin that mimicked body heat. FBI tech. Chen had called it undetectable unless they cut him open. Jake's hands found the device. Marcus's heart stopped. Jake's fingers pressed against his chest, lingering over the exact spot where the wire sat. Time stretched. Parker's voice crackled in the earpiece, barely audible. Stay calm, stay calm. Jake stepped back. He's clean. Marcus exhaled slowly. The synthetic skin had worked. Victor nodded, satisfied. Smart boy. You know better than to cross me twice. Victor pulled out a pack of cigarettes, lighting one with a silver lighter. So, let's talk business. You want back in? I want my daughter safe. That's all I want. Daughters are weaknesses, Ghost. You should know that by now. I told you 5 years ago. Leave the angels and you're on your own. No protection, no family, nothing. Victor took a long drag. But you left anyway. Took what you knew about our operations and walked. That's betrayal. I kept my mouth shut. Did you? Victor's eyes narrowed. Then why did the FBI raid our West Side operation 3 months after you left? Why did they know exactly where to find the cash house, the distribution routes, the supplier contacts? That wasn't me. No? Then who? Victor flicked ash onto the floor. See, Ghost? That's the problem. I can't trust you anymore. Can't trust that you won't wake up one day and decide your conscience is more important than your loyalty. I never talked to the feds, but you thought about it. I know you did. Maria pushed you, didn't she? Sweet Maria, with her social worker degree and her moral compass. She wanted you to be better, to leave this life behind. Victor's voice turned venomous. She wanted you to testify. She wanted you to be weak. Victor stepped closer. That's why I had to remove her from the equation. She was turning you soft, making you question everything you were, everything we built together. Marcus's fist clenched. The wire was recording every word. Parker's voice. Keep him talking. We need details. How did you do it? Marcus asked, his voice barely controlled. How did you kill her? Victor smiled. You really want to know? Yes. Jake handled it. Followed her from the grocery store, waited until she reached that intersection on 5th and Broadway. Busy intersection, lots of traffic, easy to make it look like an accident. Victor took another drag. He cut her brake line earlier that day. Just a small cut, enough that it wouldn't fail right away. By the time she needed to stop, nothing. She went right through that red light. Marcus's vision blurred with rage. Jake was grinning now, proud of his work. The other angels shifted, hands moving toward concealed weapons. That truck driver never saw her coming. Victor continued. Crushed the whole driver's side. Maria died instantly. Painless, really. More mercy than she deserved after poisoning your mind against your brothers. She was innocent. Nobody's innocent. Victor crushed his cigarette under his boot. And neither is that little girl of yours. You know what I found out? She's smart. Too smart. She overheard things. Saw things. Last month, she almost told her teacher about the men following her home. So I sent her a message. Same message I'm sending you now. The angels don't forget. We don't forgive. And we sure as hell don't let traitors walk away. Parker's voice crackled. We've got enough. Teams are moving in. 30 seconds. But Marcus wasn't listening anymore. The rage that he'd suppressed for 5 years, the violence he tried to bury came roaring back. He lunged at Victor, his fist connecting with the older man's jaw. Victor staggered back, blood spraying from his split lip. You son of a Jake grabbed Marcus from behind, locking his arms. The other two angels moved in, fists flying. Marcus took a punch to the ribs, another to the face. His earpiece fell out, skittering across the floor. He heard it crack under someone's boot. Hold him, Victor ordered, wiping blood from his mouth. He pulled out a knife, the blade catching the light. You want to know what happens to Traitor Ghost? Let me show you. The warehouse doors exploded inward. FBI agents in tactical gear flooded the space, assault rifles raised, federal agents. Nobody move. Jake released Marcus, reaching for his gun. The angels scattered. Shots rang out not from the FBI, but from Jake's weapon. An agent went down, clutching his shoulder. Return fire erupted. Jake collapsed, his chest blooming red. Victor ran for the back exit. Marcus, still reeling from the beating, forced himself to move. He couldn't let Victor escape. Not after everything. He tackled Victor before he reached the door, and they went down hard, grappling on the concrete. It's over, Marcus gasped, pinning Victor's arms. They heard everything. Maria, Lily, the bodies, all of it. Victor laughed, blood bubbling from his mouth. You think you won? You think taking me down changes anything? The angels have roots everywhere. We've got cops, judges, politicians. You'll never be safe. Lily will never be safe, maybe, but you won't be there to see it. FBI agents pulled them apart. Victor was cuffed immediately, still laughing as they dragged him away. Parker appeared, helping Marcus to his feet. You okay? Marcus touched his face, feeling the swelling around his eye. Is Lily safe? Agent Chen has her in protective custody. She's fine. Parker looked at the chaos around them. 2 angels dead, 1 wounded, the rest in custody. You did good, Marcus. We got him. Did we get everything? The confession about Maria? Every word. His lawyer can't touch this. Victor Kane is going away for life. Marcus sank against the wall, exhaustion crashing over him. It should have felt like victory. Instead, he just felt empty, hollow. 5 years of running, of hiding, of trying to be better. And it all came down to this violence, betrayal, blood on concrete. Mr. Rivera, a paramedic approached with a medical kit. We need to check you out. I'm fine. You're bleeding from your head and your ribs might be fractured. Let me at least, I said I'm fine. Marcus pushed past him, heading for the door. He needed air, needed to think. Parker caught up with him outside. Where are you going? To see my daughter. Hospital first, then Lily. No, Lily first, always. They drove back to the federal building in silence. Marcus stared out the window, watching the city pass by. Somewhere out there, Victor's network was still operating. The angels he hadn't named, the operations he hadn't revealed, the corruption that ran deeper than any one man. Victor was right. Taking him down didn't end it. It just cut off one head of a many-headed monster, but maybe that was enough. Maybe one head was all Marcus could manage. The rest would be someone else's fight. The federal building. Agent Chen met them at the elevator. Her expression was grave. What's wrong? Marcus demanded. Is Lily's fine, but we have a situation. Chen pulled out her phone, showing Marcus a text message. This came through on Victor's phone 10 minutes ago. It's from someone inside the Angels, someone high up. The message was simple. Ghost took the bait. Execute contingency plan B. Marcus felt his stomach drop. What's contingency plan B? We don't know, but it suggests Victor knew you were wearing a wire, that this whole thing was a trap. He wanted to get arrested, Marcus finished. Wanted to go on record. But why? Parker's phone rang. He answered, his face going pale as he listened. When he hung up, his hands were shaking. What? Marcus grabbed his arm. What is it? There's been a breach at the safe house where we were keeping Lily. Someone got through security. Parker stopped, unable to finish. Saying it's what? Saying it's someone with federal credentials. Someone who knew exactly where Lily was being held. The world tilted. Marcus ran for the stairs, taking them 3 at a time. His ribs screamed, his head pounded. None of it mattered. The safe house was on the 3rd floor. He burst through the door to find chaos. Agents shouting, medical personnel rushing past, alarms blaring. Lily. Marcus roared. Where's my daughter? Agent Chen appeared, her face ashen. She's gone. Someone took her. Who? Who took her? We don't know. The guard outside her room was found unconscious. Security footage shows a woman in FBI tactical gear entering at 11:47 p.m. and leaving with Lily at 11:53, but we can't identify her. She kept her face away from the cameras. Marcus's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered with trembling hands. Hello, ghost. The voice was female, cold, unfamiliar. I have something that belongs to you. Who is this? Where's Lily? Victor sends his regards. He wants you to know that contingency plans exist for a reason. That the angels always win. Always. I swear to God, if you hurt her she's alive. For now. But whether she stays that way depends on you. The woman's voice was emotionless, professional. You have 24 hours to recant your testimony. Tell the FBI you lied, that Victor never confessed to anything, that you made it all up. I can't do that. They have recordings. Then your daughter dies. Your choice, Ghost. Save Victor or save Lily. You can't have both. The line went dead. Marcus stood frozen, the phone slipping from his hand. Around him, FBI agents were mobilizing, making calls, checking security protocols. But Marcus barely heard them. His mind was stuck on one terrible truth. He thought he was saving Lily by confronting Victor. Instead, he delivered her directly into the angel's hands. Parker grabbed his shoulders. Marcus, listen to me. We'll find her. We have resources, contacts. You had resources and contacts when she was in your safe house, Marcus said, his voice dead. And they took her anyway. Someone inside your organization is working for Victor. Someone with access to everything. We don't know that. Yes, we do. Marcus pulled away. Victor planned this from the beginning. The confession, the arrest, all of it. He wanted to force me into making an impossible choice. And now I have to make it. Chen stepped forward. You can't seriously be considering recanting. Victor confessed to murder, to conspiracy, to ordering attacks on a child. We have him. You have recordings? I have my daughter. Marcus looked at her. What would you choose? Chen said nothing because they both knew the answer. Marcus would choose Lily. He'd always choose Lily, even if it meant letting a monster go free. There has to be another way, Parker said desperately. We can track the woman who took her. We can. You have 24 hours, Marcus interrupted. You think you can find Lily, stop Victor's network, and identify the mole in your organization in 24 hours? Parker's silence was answer enough. Marcus walked to the window, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Lily was scared, alone, waiting for her father to save her. And he would, no matter the cost, even if it meant sacrificing everything they'd fought for, even if it meant Victor walking free. I need to think, Marcus said quietly. I need time. Time is what we don't have, Chen replied. Then make time. Marcus turned to face them. Because I'm not making this decision while I'm bleeding and exhausted and half out of my mind with fear. Give me 4 hours. 4 hours to clear my head and figure out what to do next. Parker exchanged a glance with Chen. Finally, she nodded. 4 hours. But after that, we need an answer. We need to know if you're standing by your testimony or not. Marcus didn't respond. He walked out of the building into the cold night air, his mind racing. Victor had outmaneuvered him again. After all these years, after all the planning, Victor still knew exactly how to manipulate him. Still knew his weakness. Lily. His phone buzzed again. This time it was a photo. Lily tied to a chair, her eyes wide with terror. Alive, but terrified. The message below read, clock's ticking, Ghost. Choose wisely. Marcus stared at his daughter's face, at the fear in her eyes, and felt something inside him break. He tried to do this the right way, tried to trust the system, to let justice prevail. And where had it gotten him? His daughter kidnapped, his wife dead, his past consuming his future. Maybe there was no right way. Maybe there was only survival. He dialed a number he'd sworn never to call again. It rang twice before someone answered. Yeah, it's Ghost. I need help, and I need it now. The voice on the other end belonged to someone Marcus never thought he'd speak to again. Danny Martinez, the man said. I'll be damned. Ghost actually called. Danny had been Marcus's partner during his enforcer days. The only angel who'd understood when Marcus walked away. He'd left the club 2 years before Marcus. Started a security company, gone legitimate. They hadn't spoken since Maria's funeral. I need someone I can trust, Marcus said. Someone who knows how Victor thinks. What's going on? Marcus told him everything in rapid sentences. Lily's kidnapping, the mole in the FBI, the 24-hour deadline. Danny listened without interrupting. You're saying someone inside the federal building is working for Victor? Has to be. They knew exactly where Lily was. Walked right past security. Then you can't trust anyone in that building. Danny paused. But I might know someone who can help. Former angel turned informant years ago. Goes by the name Cisco. He's been feeding the D information on Victor's drug operations for the past 3 years. If anyone knows about Victor's contingency plans, it's him. Where is he? Safe house in Riverside. I'll text you the address. But Marcus, Danny's voice hardened. This is dangerous. You go after Victor's people without FBI backup. you're on your own. You get caught. You go to prison. You understand that? I understand. All I care about is getting Lily back. Then let's get her back. 30 minutes later, Marcus stood outside a run-down apartment building in Riverside. Danny was waiting in a black SUV, older now, but still carrying himself like a fighter. They embraced briefly. Been too long, brother, Danny said. Yeah, you look like hell. Feel worse. Marcus touched the swelling around his eye. Let's go. Cisco's apartment was on the 3rd floor. Danny knocked in a specific pattern. 3 quick. To slow. 1 quick. The door opened a crack, revealing a weary man in his 50s with suspicious eyes. Danny, who's your friend? This is Ghost. He needs information about Victor's operations. The kidnapping protocols. Cisco's eyes widened. Ghost? I heard you were dead. Not yet. Marcus pushed past him into the apartment. But my daughter might be, if I don't find her. You know about Victor's contingency plans? Cisco locked the door, checking the windows. I know he's got safe houses all over the city. Places even the feds don't know about. But kidnapping? That's not Victor's usual style. He's trying to force me to recant my testimony. Took my 9-year-old daughter to make it happen. Jesus? Cisco sat heavily on a worn couch. How long ago? 3 hours. I've got 21 hours left to decide. Then your daughter's probably at the East Side warehouse. It's where Victor keeps high-value assets, people he plans to use as leverage. Cisco pulled out a laptop, typing rapidly. Problem is, it's fortified. Armed guards, surveillance, the works. You can't just walk in. I'm not walking in. I'm breaking in. Marcus looked at Danny. You still good with explosives? Danny grinned. Better than I used to be. Then we've got a chance. Parker's phone rang at 2:47 a.m. He answered groggy, then sat bolt upright. What? When? He was already reaching for his pants. I'm on my way. Agent Chen met him in the Federal Building's Operations Center. She looked like she hadn't slept. Marcus Rivera's gone, she said, without preamble. Left the building 3 hours ago and hasn't returned. He's not answering his phone. He's going after Lily himself. That's what I'm afraid of. Chen pulled up security footage. And there's something else. I've been reviewing the breach. The woman who took Lily, I found her. She turned the screen to show a freeze frame from the security cameras. The woman's face was partially visible, just enough to identify. That's Agent Rachel Torres, Parker said, his blood running cold. She's been on the task force for 2 years. She's also Victor Kane's niece, daughter of his sister who died in 2015. We missed it in the background check because she uses her mother's maiden name. She's the mole. Yes. And she's disappeared. Didn't show up for her shift this morning. Her apartment's been cleared out. She's in the wind. Parker grabbed his jacket. Then we find her. Pull her phone records, credit card transactions, everything. Already on it. But Parker, Chen's expression was grim. If Marcus gets to her first, if he does something stupid, we can't protect him. He'll be on his own. I know. Parker headed for the door. Which is why we need to find him before he does something he can't come back from. The East Side warehouse sat in an industrial zone that had seen better days. Broken windows, rusted metal siding, graffiti covering every surface. It looked abandoned. That was the point. Marcus watched from across the street, Danny beside him. Cisco had given them everything: guard rotations, entry points, internal layout. Now they just had to execute. 3 guards outside, Danny murmured, looking through binoculars. Probably more inside. You sure about this? No. But I'm doing it anyway. Old Ghost would have had a full team, planned for days, gone in with overwhelming force. Old Ghost didn't have a daughter to save. Marcus checked his watch. We've got 18 hours. Every minute we wait is a minute Lily's in there, scared and alone. Danny lowered the binoculars. Then let's not wait. They moved through the shadows, circling to the warehouse's south side. Danny placed small charges on the electrical panel. Not enough to explode, just enough to cut the power. Marcus counted down on his fingers. 3, 2, 1. The lights went out. Shouts erupted from inside the warehouse. The guards moved toward the electrical panel, investigating. That's when Marcus and Danny slipped through a side door, moving fast and quiet. The interior was a maze of crates and shipping containers. Marcus's hand rested on the gun Danny had given him, a weapon he'd sworn never to touch again. But that was before. This was now. They found the first guard near a stack of pallets. Marcus took him down silently. Danny catching the body before it could make noise. The second guard was harder, armed, alert, suspicious. Danny created a distraction, and Marcus struck from behind, to down, stairs to the basement, Danny whispered, pointing. Cisco said that's where they keep prisoners. They descended into darkness. At the bottom, a heavy door blocked their path. Locked. Danny pulled out lockpicks, working quickly. The mechanism clicked. The door swung open. A hallway stretched ahead, lit by dim fluorescent lights. 3 doors on each side. Marcus tried the first empty. The second storage. The third, Daddy. Lily's voice weak but unmistakable. Marcus's heart lurched. He tried the door. Locked. He slammed his shoulder against it. Once, twice. The wood splintered. On the third hit, the door gave way. Lily sat tied to a chair in the center of a small room. Her face streaked with tears. She looked up at Marcus, and relief flooded her features. Daddy, you came? Of course I came, baby. Marcus rushed to her, cutting the ropes with Danny's knife. Are you hurt? Did they? I'm okay. I'm okay. Lily threw her arms around his neck, sobbing. I knew you'd find me. I knew it. We need to move, Danny said urgently. This was too easy. Where are the guards? Where's the lights came on? Footsteps echoed from the hallway. Marcus grabbed Lily, pulling her behind him as figures appeared in the doorway. Agent Rachel Torres stood at the front, flanked by 4 armed men. She smiled coldly. Hello, Ghost. Victor said you'd come. Said you couldn't help yourself. Marcus positioned himself between Torres and Lily. Let us go. You got what you wanted. I'm here. That's not how this works. Torres stepped into the room, her gun drawn. Victor wants you to recant your testimony publicly on record. She glanced at Lily. And then maybe we'll talk about releasing your daughter. No deal. I recant and you kill us both anyway. Probably. Torres shrugged. But at least this way Lily lives a little longer. You don't recant. She dies right now. Your choice. Danny's hand moved toward his weapon. Torres's men immediately aimed at him. Don't, Torres warned. You might take one of us down, but the others will kill you. And then who protects the little girl? Marcus's mind raced. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but surrendering meant Lily died anyway. There had to be another option. There had to be. FBI. Drop your weapons. Parker's voice boomed from somewhere behind Torres. Flashlights cut through the darkness. Federal agents poured into the hallway, weapons raised. Torres spun, her face going pale. I said drop them. Parker stepped forward, his badge visible. Agent Torres, you're under arrest for kidnapping, conspiracy, and corruption. Your men put down your weapons now. Torres's men hesitated. One lowered his gun, then another. Torres looked around wildly, realizing she was surrounded. This isn't over, she hissed. Victor's already talking. Parker interrupted. Gave up his whole network 30 minutes ago in exchange for a reduced sentence. Named you specifically as his inside contact. Said you've been feeding him FBI intelligence for 2 years. He's lying. We have the payments. Bank transfers from Victor's accounts to yours. Coded messages, meeting logs. Parker moved closer. It's over, Rachel. Put down the gun. For a long moment, Torres stood frozen, weighing her options. Then slowly, she lowered her weapon. FBI agents immediately swarmed her, cuffing her and reading her rights. Her men were disarmed and arrested. Marcus held Lily close, his whole body shaking with relief. Parker approached, holstering his weapon. How did you find us? Danny called me 2 hours ago. Told me where you were going, what you were planning. Said he didn't want to see you die doing something stupid. Parker glanced at Danny, who nodded. We've had this building surrounded since you went in. You could have stopped us. Could have. But I figured you needed to see her. Needed to know she was alive. Parker's expression softened. I've got kids too, Marcus. I understand. Agent Chen appeared, leading Lily away gently. Let's get you checked out, sweetheart. Your dad will be right behind you. Lily looked back at Marcus, fear in her eyes. You're coming, right? You promise? I promise, baby. I'm not going anywhere. After Lily was gone, Parker pulled Marcus aside. Victor's lawyer is already working on a deal. With Torres arrested and Victor's confession on record, the case is solid, but we need your testimony to seal it. Are you still willing? Marcus looked at the room where Lily had been held captive, at the ropes that had bound her, at the fear she'd endured because of his past. Yes, he said. I'll testify. I'll tell them everything. Every name, every operation, every crime I witnessed or participated in. Victor ends. The angels end. All of it ends. And after? What happens to you and Lily? Witness protection. New names. New city. New life. That's the deal, right? That's the deal. Marcus nodded slowly. Then that's what we'll do. Start over for real this time. 6 months later, Marcus stood in a small kitchen in a town nobody would recognize, making pancakes for breakfast. Outside, Lily played in the yard, her laughter drifting through the open window. She'd started therapy, was sleeping through the nights again, smiling more. The nightmares were fading. They had new names now, new identities. Marcus worked construction again, honest work with honest pay. Lily went to a new school where nobody knew about the angels or Victor, or the past that had nearly destroyed them. They were just a father and daughter trying to build a normal life. Dr. Santos Elena had kept in touch, calling every few weeks to check on Lily's recovery. Her voice always carried warmth Marcus hadn't expected. They talked about more than just medical updates, about hope, about second chances, about the possibility of forgiveness. Parker visited once, bringing news. Victor's trial had ended with 3 consecutive life sentences. Torres got 25 years. The Angels' leadership was dismantled, their operations shut down, their empire crumbling. Danny had testified too, corroborating Marcus's statements, ensuring there was no escape. You did good, Parker had said before leaving. You saved more than just Lily. You saved all the future victims who won't suffer because the Angels are finished. But Marcus didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a man who'd finally paid his debts, who'd finally chosen the right path. Even when it cost him everything. Lily came running inside. Grass stains on her jeans, her face flushed with joy. Daddy, there's a butterfly in the garden. Come see. Marcus turned off the stove, following her outside. The butterfly was small, orange and black, resting on a flower. Lily watched it with wonder. The same wonder she'd shown before everything went dark. The same innocence Marcus had fought so hard to protect. It's beautiful, she whispered. Yeah, baby. It is. The butterfly took flight, disappearing into the bright morning sky. Marcus put his arm around Lily's shoulders, and she leaned against him, safe and warm and home, whatever came next, whatever challenges they'd face in this new life. Marcus knew one thing with absolute certainty. He would never let the darkness touch his daughter again. He'd walk through hell to save her, and he'd do it 1,000 times over if that's what it took, because that's what fathers do. They fight. They sacrifice. They protect the ones they love, no matter the cost. And in the end, that's the only truth that really matters.